Hello, welcome to Shad Life. I want to show you where I'm at with this build. Probably the most pain in the butt part of this whole thing is getting all the cables routed through the frame because it's got internal routing. It's not super terrible, but in this particular frame there's no guides. So you got to feed them through, get them to come out the ends and all of that. So this is a shifter cable, which will go back here, and then rear brake. And I decided to just kind of loosely mount the rear brake for now because I needed to put the dropper cable in, which was also a pain. So this is the dropper. So I had to feed that through. But if you look here, the dropper came down. It has to do a more than 90-degree turn to go up the seat tube to the dropper post, right? Probably only to about there, right? So it was really hard to get that turn. But if you look down here, you could reach your finger in, you could fight it. What I ended up doing to get it to go is I put the cable in first. And I fed the cable from here down to here, fed it through with my finger and pushed it up and popped it out this hole because the cable is way more flexible and easy to move around. And once I did that, then I was able to put the housing over the cable, and then the housing just followed the cable through, and that made it super easy. So just got to kind of, figure out the method, and I can feel the dropper cable in there when I put my finger in there, so it comes down and does that fairly tight bend and goes. The nice thing about modern shift cables and dropper cables is they're compressionless, or sometimes what we call linear cables, so you can make a pretty tight bend and it doesn't restrict or bind up your cable, so you won't even notice that it has the tight bend there. And I actually run a linear cable on my BMX bike, so if I do spin the bars one rotation around, you don't even notice the cable doesn't bind up at all. It's kind of cool. So get the right kind of cables, it'll work. So now my next step is going to be to press in the headset, and then install the fork and get that all taken care of. So I will be working on that next, but I did want to talk about my progress. These cables, what a pain, but I'm glad I got the hard part done. Now everything else is just going to be like normal bike assembly. Cool. I don't know if I'm going to use a chain guide or not, but I'm glad this frame has it, because it's funny, it wasn't on the Canyon last year, but it was when I was riding the Haro, maybe because it's a hardtail. I was messing around on some stairs and stuff, and my chain came off and I didn't realize it. And I went to pedal and I didn't fall or didn't go over the bars, but I almost did. And I was kind of like, oh my gosh, I gotta figure that out. Oh yeah, there's one more routing I gotta do. I just thought of that. I gotta get the shifter cable through the chain stay. There's an upper and a lower exit. Not 100% sure how I want to do that yet. What I'll probably end up doing is, again, feeding the inner cable through and then putting the housing on afterwards. Pushing the housing through because it'll just follow that. But yeah, I should probably look at my derailleur and decide whether I want to come out the top or the bottom. So yeah, not quite done with the cable routing because I just remembered I still had that one piece to do. But yeah, putting a frame together from scratch like this is a little more challenging because you have to route all the internal housing and cables and stuff. So there you have it, NORCO fluid. Once I get everything set and I start putting things together, I'm gonna have to, on this, I'm gonna have to get olives and barbs and all that stuff and do the brakes, and pretty much should be set. There you go. That is the progress of the NORCO fluid. I'm going to give a shout out to YouTubers that film all the little nitty gritty details of doing this kind of stuff. I personally, like, maybe I'll get there someday, but it's like, if you're, you know, futzing with this stuff and struggling with it, and then you are filming, and then you know you have to film. So when I built the torquer, I spent some time doing a little bit of that, and I realized it adds probably about 3 times more the amount of time you have to put into building something to film it while you're building it. So that's why I don't do it that often. It's just a patience thing. So, but maybe someday I'll get there. I'll get the patience for doing that. Appreciate your support for my channel. Please like and subscribe.